people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American.
My fellow tribe of Patriots, welcome to another episode of the Patriots Prayer Podcast. I'm your host, the Native Patriot. Y'all can call me Maurice. And alongside me, as always, is my co-host, Eddie Smith. Today, we have a truly special episode lined up for you. We are honored to welcome Milam and Laval, the owners of Smokin Gun Coffee, a company that's not only brewing exceptional coffee, but also brewing hope and support for our veterans. Smokin Gun Coffee is a veteran-based company, and their dedication to our servicemen and women is truly inspiring. Their mission goes beyond just providing a great cup of coffee. They're committed to addressing one of the most pressing issues facing our veterans today: PTSD and suicide prevention. The statistics are sobering. In 2018, 6,435 veterans took their own lives. The current numbers estimate that 20 veterans a day succumb to the struggle of finding hope and help. These are not just numbers. These are our heroes, our brothers and sisters who feel helpless and abandoned. Smokin Gun Coffee, comprised of VFW members, is stepping up to make a difference. They support PTSD and suicide prevention programs and work tirelessly to connect veterans with service officers to get them the help that they need. Milam and Laval, through Smokin Gun Coffee, have also partnered with Serenity Veterans Village and its founder, Lauren Andrade. Lauren's passion for building small transitional housing for at-risk or homeless veterans is nothing short of remarkable. Upon returning home from overseas, she witnessed firsthand the lack of assistance available to veterans and made it her mission to create a solution. Smokin Gun Coffee proudly supports Lauren's mission, providing crucial donations to help her in her efforts to give our veterans a fighting chance at a stable life. Today, we salute Milam and Laval for their unwavering support and dedication to our veterans. Your purchase of their coffee not only fuels your day, but also fuels the fight against veteran homelessness and suicide. For more information about Lauren's incredible work, please visit Serenity Veterans Village. Thank you, Milam and Laval, for being amazing sponsors of the Patriots Prayer Podcast. Your work exemplifies the spirit of service and sacrifice that defines our great nation. Patriots, let's raise our cups to Smokin Gun Coffee and their relentless commitment to our veterans. God bless you all. God bless America. Welcome to the Patriots Prayer Podcast. Let's jump into today's episode. So we have, let's see, right here, Milam and Laval up above me. So if you guys would like to introduce yourselves and say any words, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, hey, Maurice, thanks for having us. Milam Simons, CEO of Smokin Gun Coffee, currently active duty, Fort Carson, Colorado. Been in the coffee company for 3 years now since we started it. Been on active duty for 10 years now as of next month. So going on my halfway mark, but enjoying the coffee business as we continue on and serve others.
Well said.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Active duty still, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Ooh. How secure you feel in the fact that you won't get called up here real soon?
I just go to work every day and just do my job and, just continue on and just have it in the back of my mind, honestly.
Yeah, and we appreciate what you guys do. We really do. It's just shame you got to serve under the guy who's in there right now. I said that out loud, didn't I? I'm sorry. I said that. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
Val, how are you?
Good. Just came in from roasting coffee just a while ago. So I started this business with Milam. I used to have a gun store, and we got in the coffee business. And I was 20 plus years in the Army. 15 of those as special forces, and did some other stuff here and there around the world with Uncle Sugar. And so right now we're just we're roasting coffee every day. We just partnered with a couple new organizations out there. Cootie organization, the VFW, they do a lot of charity work in the hospitals and stuff. And so we just partnered with them as well. And then we just partnered with if you ever heard of Trail Life, they're the conservative version of Boy Scouts. And
Oh,
so
I
yes.
was just saying
Yeah.
that. We did not say that somebody else needs to step up and do what the Boy Scouts won't. I was a Boy Scout from the time I was 9 years old until I was 17. I mean, I still talk to my Scoutmaster today. He's like a second dad to me. When I saw what they did, especially, I mean, someone who did I got all the medals. I mean, you name it. We did the 45-mile hikes, collected all the stuff along the way. We did it, it really meant a lot to us. And the organization is now trash. Completely and utterly it's trash. And it's disrespectful what they've done. And yeah, I'm glad. So what is this organization?
So Trail Life, I think, in fact, I think it was just in the news 2 days ago, the Boy Scouts took another step to the left. And so we partnered with Trail Life. I met another guy in the VFW. He was a retired Green Beret as well. And he's actually a mentor to some Trail Life, a local Trail Life scout group. And so we got to talking, and all they do is like they sell popcorn or something once a year to raise money. I said, hey, why don't we sell coffee and some trail mix for these kids and help them raise some money year round?
Yeah.
And so we're starting with one of the local troops. We got authorization by the national organization to go ahead and use their logo. Milam created some logos with his computer magic stuff, and so we're partnering with those guys, and we're hoping we can raise some money with those kids here in Texas this year, starting out, and as well as with the cooties. The cooties do a lot of work in the VFW, going and seeing veterans in nursing homes that are disabled and can't get out. And so we're kind of partnering with a couple of big organizations there to kind of spread our message and our commitment to both the veterans and now these kids who need some role models and guidance. And so we're going to partner with those guys, and hopefully these kids will have some money to continue their efforts learning scouting like you learned, but in a more traditional conservative manner. So that's kind of what we're pushing for this year and next year.
Well, I am right as we speak looking up to see if they have one near us. And they're going to get featured all the time. Now, I
Trail
promise
Life is just exploding now because of the left-leaning way that Boy Scouts have gone. And so Trail Life is just exploding across the country, and kids are looking for something like that. They need that.
Yeah.
Well, they're
Yeah,
not the Boy Scouts anymore, aren't they? Changing their name to like
Scouts of America.
Yeah.
Scouts
Oh,
of America.
Lord.
Yeah.
It's more
A lot
inclusive.
of kids, you gotta figure a lot of kids didn't get to grow up under the whip of their dad like Milam did on the ranch and make him go out and work his ass off every day and chase him down. So some some kids need a little more guidance.
It's funny. I had
You know,
Yeah.
I had kind of grown up in a certain way. Like we lived down a mile and a half dirt road, and I remember like getting out of high school and jumping into the workforce. I kind of realized that I had a way better work ethic than almost everybody else because I was used to it, right? And so like long hours didn't bug me or anything like that. But I mean, one of the examples that really sticks out in my head is I got dropped off from the school bus at home, and my stepdad was sitting there, and he had a truck full of gravel and a shovel sitting in the back because he'd kind of putt down the road, and I would scoop and fill potholes as we're going. So that was one of the times where it was just like I don't even remember what age I was, probably 12 or so, maybe 13, and just getting off the school bus, and then okay, looks like it's going to be 2 hours of filling potholes instead of going and playing video games or whatever the heck I wanted to do.
That's parental character building.
It is.
Frustrated the hell out of me at the time. I remember being so pissed, but I'm thankful now because not only did he inspire me to do things like
pissed, were you, Milam?
What's that?
What's that?
You were never pissed, were you, Milam? You never got pissed, or did you?
No, I was never pissed.
Right.
Yeah, my Scoutmaster was a little less. I mean, he was a survivalist, so we didn't. We were part of the Boy Scouts of America, but he was extra. I would just put it that way. So, we boxed every week at the PAL Center, and he worked us until he couldn't work us anymore. If you messed up, you had to do these things where he put a nail through a broomstick and he had a string and he had a jug, a gallon jug full of water, and you had to roll the jug up and then roll it back down and then do it again and again if you screwed up. I mean, and he'd put us in there and make us box and run and clean up the neighborhood and taught us how to fish, how to shoot, sitting up, stand. I mean, everybody should have that. It was amazing. And I'm so glad to hear that somebody's going to try to pick up the torch and be the real Boy Scouts again. That's amazing. I'm looking. So if I can't find a troop in my area, which it looks like there isn't any, I think I'm going to make it my mission to find someone to run one.
Yeah. I think I saw one the other day. It was in Tennessee. They had created a new troop there, so I don't think it would be like that hard to reach out to them and try to create one.
Well, it's right on their site, create one. They're looking for people to do this. I just don't have the time between what we do in the podcast, and I work for a general contractor in my 9 to 5, but it's still very important. And I know a lot of people that this is right up their alley. So I'd love to get
9
one.
to 5.
Well,
I have a 4:30 to 5, and then the podcast from 6 to 7:30 or 8, and then and then family time, and you know how it is. Yeah.
I don't think I stopped doing the podcast all damn day, actually, if I'm being honest.
That's true.
But it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love. So, guys, listen, what made you go from owning a gun store to selling coffee? What was that transition about? I heard you say you owned a gun store before. And now
if you remember back several years ago, ammo was hard to get. And so I knew the guys in Black Rifle. And so we started carrying some Black Rifle for cash flow. Ammunition is cash flow in a gun store. The guns are really the cheapest profit margin in the store for most shops. Everything else is how you make money. And so we started selling Black Rifle coffee, and they went corporate, and you couldn't pick up the phone and talk to a human anymore.
Yeah.
And so I got pissed off and bought a coffee roaster machine, bought some beans and started roasting and figured it out. And one thing led to another, and here we are,
There it is. I love it.
I got tired of dealing with the ATF. This is a whole lot easier roasting coffee here on the ranch than having to deal with the ATF and all that rigmarole.
Well, all the ABC agencies. I remember years ago, they were actually talking about getting rid of the ATF and just keeping it under the federal government. And then right after that happened, the Arthur P. Murrell building happened, and then that whole thing went away. All right. So listen, we're very grateful for you guys as a sponsor. Our people love you. I mean, the guys that are over here in the chat, they all know exactly who you are. And
I've never heard a bad review from any of your guys' coffee. And I'm dead serious. Every time that I've had people order coffee and they post it and say, "Oh my gosh, this coffee is amazing." So yeah, for those of you that don't know, these gentlemen had reached out to me back in December, I think it was. Yeah, somewhere around that time, December. They supported my message that I was putting out into the Twitterverse, or the Xverse now, I guess it's called. And they wanted to get behind me, and they've worked with me every step of the way. They created a couple labels of Smokin Gun Coffee that has custom Native Patriot or Tribe of Patriots rather emblems on it, and they of course sent me a bunch of coffee to start off with, and I picked my favorites and then put them on there. So you guys can order that at smokinguncoffee.com. They have a whole tab for the Tribe of Patriots. You can use discount code Native Patriot. But I wanted to say that the conservative values that I've seen from you guys wanting to promote and what you actually do, you live you're what you preach, right? You served in the military, and you're actively serving as well. And I don't remember how long you had in the service there, Laval, but unfortunately,
20 years.
20 years. Okay. Well, yeah. So you guys served in the military, you donate to veteran suicide programs. And it's one of the biggest things that I see in today's society is the fall of patriotism and the lack of structural support for our veterans. Right now, there's a lot of support for illegal criminal aliens coming into the country, and our veterans are just getting left behind. what do you guys do to kind of try and help alleviate some of that? And I know in the intro that I had mentioned the Serenity. I say I have it written down, but what do you guys do to support veterans around the country?
So like a lot of stuff we do. So I'm also a district commander of our VFW. So I'm in charge of 11 VFWs. And so we go out and promote our message every time I'm out there as well. I don't know how much coffee we've given away to different causes and different organizations every year. Do you have any idea, son? It's
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I forget when someone asks me like who all you donated to. I was like, I have to go back into my notebook and figure out who all we have donated to be honest with you, or just organizations we have in mind to donate to or get involved with. But also, like as he's saying, all these organizations, and then just the active duty community too that I get to, talk to, and how small it is, but how vast it is, and how fast it can spread across the veterans community, just by talking to one person that I serve right next to every day.
Yeah, good news travels fast.
yeah. And you talked about illegal immigration. I mean, it's not just the illegal immigration, it's also all the terrorists that are coming across at the same time and sneaking in this country,
Yeah.
I mean, I worked anti-terror for years, and it's just a travesty to see these people coming in, but letting them in, it's just a matter of time. It's when it's going to happen, which is going to be soon, because they're here planning, preparing for what they're going to do to this country again. And the libtards out there don't give a shit. They
Well,
really
you
don't
heard
care.
the one. You heard the one. He come right across the border. He's down there, a guy with a camera right in front of him, and he says, "You don't know who I am yet, but you will."
He said, "You're
And
not
he was
smart enough to know who I
Yeah,
am."
that's what he
but
said.
you
You're
will.
not smart enough. And he just walked away. No fear. He didn't run away. Who's going to pull up? Is there a drone watching? They just brazenly just come over. They're not coming over to find a better life. They're going to wherever their damn training camp is. Meanwhile, Maxine Waters is worried more about us buying campers and going up in the hill. It's ridiculous. They blame us for everything that they themselves are actually doing. And we're really just sick of it. I have to make sure that I say the thing in my head before I say it out loud before, we stay on line. For
The
sure.
biggest challenge is the three-lettered agencies are not actually working to help us anymore. I've worked with those agencies, and now a lot of the guys that were in anti-terror have retired, and they got disgusted because they see what's going on, and people are just there filling a slot and not actually out there actively chasing down and deporting terrorists out of the country.
Yep. And they're compromised. I mean, at the highest level, even our president let Chinese spy balloons fly across the entirety of the country before he acted. I mean, if that wasn't EMP, we would all be done. Right now, we're done. He's the only president that's had a topless trans party on the White House lawn, giving out crack pipes and had cocaine found in the White House, while a diary's found saying that he's showering with his teenage daughter. But they're worried about Trump's morality.
See, folks need to go out there and go on the website and get some of that tribe coffee that we have in those big 5-pound dehydrated packs they can buy. And then money goes back to supporting the podcast and veterans.
Yeah, see, exactly. And you'll be prepared for when the economy crashes and shit hits the fan. You're not going to be having the shakes from not having your coffee.
Right.
I say that all fun and games.
Coffee's a commodity, man. It's good. It's a good bartering tool. That's for damn sure. When that caffeine headache kicks in, you'll trade just about anything for it. I know I would. I love coffee. I think I drink it all damn day long.
Well, now that I'm on the carnivore diet, coffee is pretty much the only thing that I can really drink that's not water. Yeah, because I was getting a little chubby. I don't know how. I mean, maybe it was just the poor food I was eating and the alcohol and the smoking cigarettes and I don't know, something like that. All that bad stuff. So I decided to change my diet. I got up to 226 pounds. I'm only 5'10". So I wasn't feeling right. I've been genetically athletic my entire life, and I've been in shape, and I've kind of got complacent with relying on my genetics in order to I guess, maintain fitness, right? But over time, even that started to go away. So I wanted to change it up, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this carnivore diet. But the only thing, I'm still going to need my coffee. So I'm still able to drink your guys' coffee every day, and I don't put any additives in it because it definitely doesn't need it. And I had to convince my wife because she always believed that she liked the taste of coffee, but every time I would see her pouring coffee, she'd be pouring like all this creamer and all this other stuff into it. And I'm like, well, you don't like the taste of coffee, then you like the taste of the added stuff in it. So she tried your guys' coffee and loved it as well.
I like my half and half, man. I like that. I could drink it straight. But
yeah, but I've been on it for about 45 days now. Yeah, and I'm down.
Where are you at with that? Where are you at with that?
So I am down 30 pounds. I went from 226 to 196. And so I feel a ton better. Yeah. Oh, see, there you go. And you're about 2.5 weeks behind, right?
Yeah, 17. I just got into the 260s, and I started in the 280s. So I just kind of broke that threshold. And yeah, hopefully, I get back to where I was prior. And coffee's it's a great energy starter. I mean, if I got up in the morning and I didn't have it, I don't know what I would do. I gotten to the point now where I can sleep on it, to be honest with you. And like you said, now that the only other thing we can drink outside of water is coffee, it's even more so. So guys, take us through the process. You're sourcing, like, what does that look like for you? I mean, you guys wanted to start this company. You bought a roaster. So are you farming too? Are you sourcing local farmers or?
We'll go with that, son.
Yeah, so I'll take it from the start. Basically, we've looked through a lot of small farmers that are across the world. Basically, what he looks for whenever he's ordering coffee is a cupping score. What that cupping score is a scale of basically 0 to 100 on what they deem the coffee's profile is, on how good it is, from 0 being the worst to 100 being the best. And we normally only pick beans that are cupped from 85% above. That's where we start our baseline at when looking for actual beans from small farmers around the world. And also, we also look at co-ops and trading companies that are only small farmers, because the bigger farmers, you're going to find a lot more commercially farmed beans, just like any type of commercially farmed product. It's a lot more additives, a lot more pesticides of that nature. Whenever you look into more co-ops and small farmers, it goes down to the basics of people just trying to survive off of their 5-acre coffee farm. And that's just the start of it. It can go really deep into exactly how they grow the beans, how they wash the beans, where they grow them, how high the altitude is. There's just a lot that really goes into the coffee bean itself, the coffee plant.
So is it better at a higher altitude? If it's grown at a higher altitude, it comes out better because the oxygen is less. Is that?
Well, with the coffee beans, the higher the altitude, you have all these different microclimates that are out there in the coffee belt. And so the higher the climate, the harder the bean gets. In the lower parts of Brazil, where they grow a lot of coffee, the coffee beans a little bit softer. And so for the bulk of our coffee, we're doing a hard bean. It's grown in the higher elevations, anywhere from 1,000 meters on up, right? And there's so many different microclimates in these regions that's where you get all the different flavors that come from coffee. And so we try to get those a little bit harder beans. They roast better for what we want to do in our general coffee, what we're making. If we're making like coffee for cold brew, we're selling for espresso. We'll have some Brazilian beans that are go a little bit lower altitude. And so those beans are a little softer, but they also have a lot of chocolatey, nutty flavors that we're looking for when we're making that roast and trying to get that blend going right. And so all those different altitudes and microclimates help determine the flavors of this coffee.
Let me ask you, there is a type of coffee that a guy I used to work with used to bring in, and it would be his. And he's like, this is the best coffee in the world because bats would eat it. And that's all they ate. And they would, come out the other end and they would go get the coffee and they would make the coffee out of this. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, there's
it's like guano coffee.
There's a civet cat too that grows. It's somewhere overseas, and the cat eats the bean and shits the bean out, and they. No, I don't buy that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
sounds
like literally.
terrible.
It's like a guano. It's like a guano. All these bats do, all they do is eat coffee. So they process the coffee that the bats have processed. And
Yeah.
the big coffee nerds out there, they swear by it. I've never, once I heard what it was, I couldn't bring myself to try it. But it's a real thing. It's actually a very real thing.
I think a
So
real Boy Scout would probably try some of that.
yeah, no, that's right up there with Rocky Mountain oysters. I'm out.
What? Come on.
I'm out. Yeah,
Wow. Come on, man.
I had a buddy of mine get them all the way to the table one time. I went down to Texas. I had no clue what they were talking about. And they get all the way to the table with it. And the waitress goes, "Do you know what those are?" And oh no, you just wasted your money, dude. I'm not eating that. You're crazy. Yeah, there's a few things in life I won't try. Balut, if you know any Filipinos, you know this is a fermented duck egg, and the duck is half formed inside the egg, and they think it's a delicacy.
Yeah.
And that's up there too on things that I just won't eat. But most other things I will. You know, I pickle pig's feet. I'm good with all that kind of stuff, but I'm not touching the bat doo-doo coffee. It's out.
It's a cat. It's a cat.
No,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about
bat.
bats.
There's a bat one. It's guano. Yeah.
That sounds terrible. Hard pass. You know, so surprisingly, I've gotten some grief by having a coffee sponsor, right? Because people are like, "Oh, coffee's so worn out, this and that," and you know, there's already Black Rifle Coffee out there. But the problem that I see with things, or with a company like Black Rifle Coffee, no offense to them, right? I'm not trying to call them out here, but they did become corporatized. Well, they did become corporatized, and you know, I believe engulfed or merged with Folgers in how they source their coffee beans. So it kind of went from, you know, this startup company to where you know, that was super pro American, pro veteran, and all this and that, and then they became this huge corporate entity, which is like the later stages of capitalism, where it's just like, you know, they kind of outgrew their shoes and lost their way, if you will. But you guys, I mean, one of the main reasons why I love to support you guys and love that you guys support me is that you are a small company. I mean, it's literally a dad and son shop that I mean, still active military, former military, and you guys brew your own coffee. And I mean, to me, it's an incredible thing to see you guys start up. And I hope that I can help make you guys huge, because you support the conservative values, you live them out, and I mean, you haven't gotten this, you haven't become this giant corporate entity where people where you kind of just leave the people behind, and you know, it becomes about the structure itself instead of about the people. You know, you guys are still donating to charities to help out with veterans suicide and things like that, which you know, was, I mean, that particular story is one of them that really convinced me to hop on board with you guys. I'll tell you a little story just about where I'm coming from and why I would like to support you guys so much. Because when I was a kid and growing up, my grandpa would always take me out on hikes. You know, I'd go visit him every summer. I'd go over there for about 2 weeks, and we'd go on long hikes. We were really close. Well, when I was about 14, I got pulled out of school, and my mom had told me that my grandpa had committed suicide, and he was a Vietnam War veteran, and he had apparently stopped taking his meds, and one day it was just too much for him, and it has hurt my heart ever since. And so when I saw that you guys you know, support and donate to suicide prevention for veterans, I mean, that's one of the things that it's just like, it is not talked about enough, and people have a hard time understanding what kind of impact that leaves on people. Because I mean, as a kid, you know, I still remember that entire thing vividly, and how my grandma my grandma's face when I first seen her, and I mean, I don't want to get into all the details because it was not a pretty scene for my grandma, but I mean, this affects people's lives deeply, and I'm really glad that you guys are doing something about it, and I hope that I can amplify that voice and your guys' work, and I hope that you guys become really big and can actually help make as much of a difference as you possibly can to help save as many veteran lives as possible.
As a matter of fact, Maurice and I will be going down to an event with Donald Trump in a couple of weeks. And no reason why we couldn't have a Smokin Gun Coffee Patriot Prayer shirt made for us to wear to the event.
You need to load you up with some coffee to take with you too.
Yeah, you can do that. We're all about it. Give you the name of the hotel as soon as we get it. That way it's sent there because they charge extra for every damn thing we fly with.
Where's the event going to be?
Detroit.
In Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, Maurice, you talking about veteran suicide. It's not just guys who have already served. There's guys and gals who are committing suicide that are still serving. I mean, Malam, how many in your unit since you've been in the Army have committed suicide, and some in just the last year?
It's been 3 in the last year, probably about 12 since I've been in. But
These are young guys and girls that are still serving, committing suicide.
Wow. And what is the let's say if you need help and you need counseling, and because I've heard different things from different people, and you go to your commanding officer with this, how's that treated? Is that immediately let's get you help or walk it off? I mean,
yeah, no, the Army's changed a lot, and they have really good programs now. Anybody has confidential say, and they have confidential people that are certified and licensed to deal with that. And all the service member has to do is go to a behavioral health specialist or a chaplain or anyone who's credentialed. But basically, the Army has a program to monitor you and basically give you your own counselor per se. Not really a counselor. It doesn't have to be a counselor. It can just be someone you want to talk to.
sure.
But I think the bigger issue in the Army is just the not wanting to seem weak. I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of people.
Yeah, well, that's a men problem. That's
exactly
the way it is in general. We don't talk to one another.
Yeah.
We have an event that we do every year up in Utah. It's called Wild at Heart, and valleymen.org is the website. If anyone's in the Utah area and wants to come, it's going to be on July 26th. And it's just a group of guys, old military guys like yourselves, and just men in general. It's a men's retreat, and we go up there and we unload on one another. It's a place where it's just everyone's safe to be able to talk because everyone's talking. Mm-hmm. And we need more of that. And I would imagine that people in the military also don't want to end up with dishonorable discharges or just being discharged at all. They're trying to get to their pension and whatever else. And this is kind of a fine line they have to walk. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Well, I mean, that could be, a thought process in someone's head. And one of the new studies is the people that do commit suicide, the thoughts and actions that happen are within the last minute to 30 seconds that the suicide is committed. So, it's really hard to say what actually goes on within that minute or 30 seconds. But, the Army has strayed away from being negative about behavioral health issues and discharging you. You still get a general discharge if there's anyone out there listening. You don't have to be afraid of the negative consequences. You're still going to be okay with getting out as long as you seek the help that you want to seek and get help.
That's the main thing is to seek help and ask for help. If there's anybody you can reach out to, make sure that you guys do it. I mean, what Eddie was talking about, getting that like a man retreat, getting that physical or that face-to-face time, with other people. I know with the internet, everybody feels connected, but it's not really a connection, right? You're not really getting that personal connection with someone. So it's important to get face-to-face time with your friends and family, and if you see somebody struggling, reach out to them, and if you're struggling, reach out.
And sometimes it is easier with a stranger, because if I don't know you, I really don't give a shit what you think about me, right? So I can unload on you maybe a little easier than the guy that I know, right? So either way, there's always somebody. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. The thing is to get men to actually take that step and look for it, because if you're looking for it, you will find it.
Right.
Yeah, suicide is a very, it's so easy to call it a selfish act, and we all understand why people call it that, but I think to call it that and stop is really wrong. Some people are in mental anguish and pain, and unlike the pain that you feel, a physical pain on your arm or leg or chest or back or whatever, Tylenol can stop those things, a wrap, a rub, or whatever the case may be. When you're in pain in your mind, even going to sleep doesn't, it chases you into your dreams. You can't get away from it. And that kind of pain, when someone's in that kind of pain, all they feel is that they want to get out of pain. So just to say that it's a selfish act and call someone weak is just so far off the mark. People have done a lot to get to the point where they're dealing with so much that they think suicide is a viable option. So we need to raise the bar a bit on how we go to help them.
Yeah,
Most veterans know. Go ahead, son.
I was just going to say that the world is better with you in it. So suicide's not the way.
You just got to convince people of that sometimes, because it's very hard to convince somebody after some of the things that I'm sure they have seen and lived through. It's very hard.
That's the big part, especially for me in special operations. A lot of the guys you've done so many missions and you've done so much shit out there, and you put up a big front to let the world know that you're okay. But a lot of guys, you think they're okay, and next day they go blow their head off.
Yeah, snap.
And it happens all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
There's so much going on in there that you don't know about.
It's like a bottle. You can fill it and fill it and fill it, and then sooner or later it's just going to overflow. And we don't know a lot of times, because what's happening in our subconscious is sometimes beyond our ability. Sometimes we're hurting or anxious or depressed, and we don't know what's causing it, because there's a barrier between us. And that's where counseling and therapy comes in. Just be careful who you get that therapy from, because you don't want to end up trans. I'm just saying. It's just saying. Modern medicine.
Maurice, I got a question for you.
I got an answer.
Closing in on 90,000.
Yeah. That's
It's amazing. How have you gotten this wave? It's just like more and more. It's crazy. Your growth.
Let's see. How have I done it? I'm not sure. I guess the best way I could explain it is to say that, well, I guess it started years ago. I had a Facebook account, and some of the things that I saw in the world, I was kind of venting to my family and friends about it. And I used to have this thread, I guess you would call it, and it was called my strive for greatness, right? And I kind of laid out my goals and what I wanted to do, and not necessarily like get a following or anything like that. But after 2020, I kind of realized that I didn't have a voice. When the lockdowns hit, I could tell my boss to screw off and that I'm not taking the jab and I'm not doing, I remember when everything locked down initially, he handed me a little slip, and it was like an essential workers slip. Like, yeah, you're allowed to be outside. And I was like, I don't really give a shit. Threw it in the trash. I was like, this is America. I'm going to do what I want. So, if they have a problem with me, they can arrest me. I'll take them to court and I'll win. So, but I realized back then that I didn't have any voice or platform or influence of any way. And I was like, hey, I think I'm right with standing against this. And there were many men that I saw that kind of folded to the pressure. And I was like, if I can inspire people to say no that than I want to. So back then on Facebook, I was starting to refine my writing skills because I didn't learn much in high school. I didn't really like high school, but so I refined my writing skills well after that, and I started speaking out on X and being as truthful as I could and as genuine as I could because I knew that eventually I would get a following if I was honest and upfront and my message rang true to many people. And I assumed that was the case because I know that the way I feel, there's a lot of other Americans out there that are feeling the same way, that know that this tyranny is wrong, and they know that hey, there's something going on, but I don't know if I can speak out because from what I see out in the social media sphere and what the media says is that I'm not of the popular opinion. Well, that's wrong. We are of the popular opinion. Most people feel this way. Most people are feeling that they're being trampled over by the deep state or by both parties at times. The Republicans and Democrats have been absolutely destroying the middle class for decades. And so, someone comes along like Trump and he's like a bull in a china shop in 2016. Nobody expected him to actually win, and he just tore everything up and threw the media into an absolute hissy fit and turned so many people against their fellow Americans and even Trump himself. I mean, I still get an insane amount of flack today just for being a Native American and a patriot. People have the audacity to think that all Native Americans should be left leaning or that they should hate America, when in reality, America is the greatest country on God's green earth, hands down, because we actually instituted the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, where our rights stem from God and are recognized by government. Now, our government has kind of forgotten that a little bit, right? And there's been people in power that have accrued more and more power behind the scenes, and they've been tilting towards tyranny for quite some time. And we're reaching a breaking point, is what it feels like. And I know that there's millions of Americans that also feel that way. So I figured if I started speaking out, that it would resonate with others, and that I could hopefully get a tribe of patriots to stand alongside and to be able to spread a message about opposing tyranny and standing against these authoritarian mandates that they put down, and saying that if you don't take this jab, you're going to lose your job, or that there even were essential workers. That was one of the craziest things that blew my mind, is that in Washington state alone, there were over 2,200 restaurants that shuttered their doors forever because of the COVID mandates, because they said your life isn't essential. That what you do is not essential. The way that you've provided for your family for the last however many years is not essential. That's the craziest thing to me. And so I know that there's a ton of people pissed about that. And I hope that I can find them. And I hope that they can join in with me, and then they understand that they are of the popular narrative. We are not supposed to be the silent majority anymore. Like Eddie says at the end of every single show, that we can no longer be the silent majority, that we have to be the loud and outspoken majority, and that we have to communicate that to other patriots around the country, because this is important. This is our country we're talking about. This is the only country in the entire world, in the history of mankind, that we know that is as unique as we are. That I, as a brown Native American, can walk alongside every single other American in this country as an equal. That I am not lesser. That I have the same rights under God, recognized by government. That's a beautiful thing. That I'm innocent until proven guilty. That I have free speech. I can criticize the government. I can practice whatever religion I want. I happen to be a Christian, but I'm allowed to practice whatever religion I want to in this country. And it's a beautiful thing. And more people need to understand that the popularity is there, that people are, that there are so many patriots out there that love this country, and they're searching for a voice. And if I can be that voice, I would love to be that voice. I would love to represent people, and not in government necessarily, but I would love to help represent people who are too shy to speak out, or that don't have the articulation skills, or whatever it may be. I would love to speak for them and communicate with them and figure out why they love this country and what I can do to help. And I mean, even if it's something as small as getting Holden Armenta to the Super Bowl, which was a slap in the face to cancel culture, where we had Karen Phillips write that article, putting that little kid on blast, a 9-year-old kid who wore red and black face paint, saying that he had worn blackface to a game and that he was insulting Native Americans. I oppose all of that. I think
Have you guys had they seen the clip
of
Yeah, I've seen it.
the Holden Armenta clip?
Yeah, they were following it.
Good.
Yeah,
I think that's the I think it's the Maurice for Governor stump speech. Son, let's go ahead and get a check to Maurice for Governor. We'll be the first contributor.
Now we have a lot of America First candidates. Come on, Damon Galdo is someone that I genuinely like. He's a blue collar union worker in New Jersey that's fighting an uphill battle against people in his state, against the Uniparty, against the Chris Christie's and that sort of thing. Jerome Davison is another one.
he was awesome.
I
love that guy.
Reed Rasner, Matt Shoemaker, Mara Macy, and of course Nate Kane. Nate Kane was the whistleblower who told who got the information out about Hillary Clinton selling the uranium to Russia under the Obama campaign, and they tried to kill him for it. And now he's going to be the congressman in West Virginia, and just got General Flynn's endorsement. And we've been talking to General Flynn as of recently too, and he's going to be coming on the podcast here pretty soon. So, I mean, things are moving up.
On Thursday.
Yeah, he's promoting his movie right now, and yeah, we're going to be promoting that movie for him as well. So we just got done doing all the paperwork and that sort of thing, and he's got a lovely girl who works for him, and we had the guys on from the Chicago University, right? Maurice was Chicago, right? Arthur Long.
Yeah.
And these kids were the ones who defended the flag when they came for it. The pro-Palestinian protesters came out there to take the flag, and they're like, no, no. And they put a stop to it. And the school bended a knee though, and cut the cord to the flag. So they couldn't put the American flag or any other flag back up, just to kind of, dead end the problem. It was not a good look for the college. What am I looking at?
I was just trying to show the picture. It's not coming out as I thought, as good as I thought it would. So.
Yeah, those kids were amazing.
Maurice was right there, because if people don't wake up and support Trump, we're going to be in a bad shape. Because if they allow these Zuckerberg people to stuff ballot boxes again like they did last time all across the country, and these Trump tax cuts expire, it's going to be holy hell if they let Biden and Cackles back in office.
Yeah, no, I don't even see how that could possibly happen. He set the world record, for the United States, having a president with the lowest ratings ever. He's done worse in the economy, in every category. So when you talk about it, it depends on the category, because some categories, the inflation has gone up well over 100%. Like in pet food, forget about it. If you're a dog owner or cat owner and you go and you're looking to buy that, you're paying twice the amount you were paying 4 or 5 years ago. Eggs, bacon, beef, you name it. It's every category of everything has gone up, and we're supporting people here now who are complaining that their hotel room accommodations are not up to their standards, and they snuck in here. And it's really, it makes no sense except to say that none of this is happening by accident.
No, it's not by accident. Not at all.
Joe Biden is partnered with some NGOs, and they are actually campaigning in Mexico. I actually have the flyers here somewhere on the computer, and they're campaigning in Mexico, telling people that when they come across to vote for Joe, so they can keep the border open. And then they told you what? Well, illegals can't vote. Wrong. Because when they get here, they're giving them social security cards and IDs. So the people at the DMV that don't know any better are registering them, and states are now having to sue to have them removed from the rolls. But who really is going to check that to see if they've done it thoroughly? Right. I had this shirt that says, "Don't let me vote Democrat when I die." There's a reason why that's funny, because it's true. And yeah, it's sad. And they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they've got Trump painted as the type of orange Nazi, and it's so much so that anything that they think that they can do, good, bad, or indifferent, that meets their agenda is okay because it's Trump. And our irresponsible mockingbird media has thrown gas on that fire, and they are the ones that are creating these radicals that feel as though that they're given strength by the media and the fact that they had cashless bail rallies and all that in the beginning of their term, and they're out there defunding the police and all of these things. So all these criminals think that they're backed by the government. We have kids running up on the podium threatening to kill the entire city council and thinking it's okay to say that stuff because the people in our office are standing in solidarity with a lot of this. We have people that are in the DSA that hold public office in the United States, the Democrat Socialists of America, which is a pro-Hamas group. It is a pro-terror group. Yeah, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Cory Booker, all these people belong to it. Since when is that okay?
Well, and not only that, they also paint all Trump supporters as being in a cult, right? Trump, like he's got faults like everybody, right? Surprisingly, he's like the cleanest person I've ever heard of in my entire life. Who knew that he would have over 100 million people looking into every aspect of his life, trying to find something wrong. You know, there's been so many people looking throughout every single document he's ever touched, every person he's ever met or looked at or been around. And they've been trying for the last 8 years to get this guy. And every time that they put him on trial or things like that, all they do is they expose their own corruption for them attempting to frame him to do something. But not only that, they do paint Trump supporters as being in a cult, which is one of the most frustrating things to me because he's the only person who has even spoken to somebody like me and acknowledged that, hey, I'm down here in the lower middle class. I exist too. And he actually is able to speak to me, which is surprising from a billionaire. But not only that, he is a thorn in the side of the globalists, which I believe is the biggest reason that I'm voting for him. Because the World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030, that shit's real. They've been saying it for years. They meet every single year. They've been enacting this plan. They didn't expect Trump to win in 2016 to 2020. So that's why everything in the last 4 years has felt hyper accelerated. And it's because they had to catch up for all their mistakes. So now war in Ukraine, war in Israel, and I mean, war has been sparking all around the world. So they've been on double time trying to get this agenda passed through, and they're doing everything in their power to stop Trump. So as far as I'm concerned, if he's a thorn in the World Economic Forum side, then I'm all for him. Just screw those guys.
The reason they're pissed off at him is because he asked one question. And this is the whole NATO thing. This is the Ukraine thing. He asked one question. He said, "Can you tell me what NATO is good for today? Like, why? I mean," and that was the one question that I think just kind of stirred them all up. The other thing he did was fire James Comey, and that was like swatting a beehive, and they all came out to attack him after he did that because he got the lead guy from their an actual cult, look. We live in a police state, folks. There's no doubt. We've seen them go after the president's lawyer in an effort to try to get information on him. We've seen them bootstrap charges that are beyond the statute of limitations. Hell, the other day I took all of the declassified documents that they released to the public, 30 PDFs in all, hundreds, if not thousands of pages, and I put it all into an AI model, every bit of it. So my AI model learns everything that I put into it. It's an easy way to digest and get information out at a click. So I taught my AI everything there was to know about Crossfire Hurricane. I can bring it up for you right now and ask it, who were the ones who framed Trump? It literally will tell you the Clinton Foundation and the DNC. It tells you. And this is after reading the court documents and the released and all the declassified documents. And it scours through and tells you these are the people who are at fault. People forget They tried to pay Christopher Steele $1 million to corroborate what was in that dossier, and he couldn't take the money because he knew it was fake. Yet those same FBI agents, which were those FBI agents, the one that went after Mike Flynn immediately when Trump won, not Peter Strzok, but the other guy, Petke, and he was the husband of the chief of staff of Mike Pence. So people didn't realize that the guy that was putting the knife right in the back of Trump was the guy sitting right next to him. And
so if you guys haven't noticed, we could talk about this stuff all day. But I wanted to show our audience something. We can go down the whole rabbit hole. But I wanted to show our audience something. So this is SmokingGunCoffee.com. We have the Trail Life Troop, which is replacing the Boy Scouts, or the Scouts of America is what they're calling it now. They're replacing them, and so Smokin Gun Coffee is supporting them, selling coffee year round for them. They're a good. They are Christians, right? If I remember, because I've read a bit. I've read a bit about them, but I haven't dove into it head first yet. So yeah, Christian company. They're replacing the Boy Scouts. They're really good. So if you want to support that, buy their coffee there. If you would like the Tribe of Patriots coffee, this is on SmokingGunCoffee.com. By the way, you can go to the Tribe of Patriots. We have all these flavors here. You got the bulk, the bold like Bartholomew, rise like a native, shine like a patriot, and the Smokin Gun Coffee Rise of Patriots. This is my favorite right here.
When can I get an asshole like Eddie? Where can I like the asshole like Eddie? That's what I want.
So yes, use discount code Native Patriot. You can get 10% off of anything you buy on the website. They have a whole bunch of stuff here, and like I said, they donate to support veterans. They are veterans themselves, so you are supporting veterans, and they support my message fully. They support our message. It is a great relationship that I've had with these gentlemen, and I'm so glad that they were able to come on the podcast today and share a little bit of their story. And I hope that more people find out about them. That's one of the biggest thing is that I hope more people find out about Smokin Gun Coffee, and that I'm not just doing this to sell coffee. You know, I wholly support their message, and I really enjoy their coffee. So one of the best ways for you guys to support them is to buy their coffee, is to share their coffee. And you can also support me, which, you know, I appreciate that as well, obviously. So,
Yeah,
so you guys,
listen, I don't know, money where your values are. If people don't share your values, stop giving them your money. I mean, it's that simple. If put your money where it's going to do the most good. You know, stop shopping in Walmarts and feeding the corporate animals. If your kids are in Boy Scouts, get them out of Boy Scouts and put them in to Trail Life, and, you know, do things that actually suit your values. Things that actually represent you well. I mean, Bongino talked about this parallel economy thing a lot, and it's true. If you want to make a change, if you want to see the world change, defund it. Guarantee you it'll change immediately. Look what happened to Bud Light. Real quick. So believe me, people will change at the moment that you pull your dollar bills out from underneath of them.
Spend your money on people that like you and share your values. That's one of the main things. And one of the main reasons why I support them and they support me as a sponsor as well, is because they share similar values. You know, they want conservatives, their voices uplifted. They want to help veterans. They want to help prevent veteran suicide. They're good people, good, honest men who I support wholeheartedly. So, did you guys want to say anything before we get out of here?
What you got? Well, I was just gonna say we really appreciated you guys having us on. Just from the small time that we've known each other, we've built, you know, a great relationship. And like you were saying, it really is just about you know, the community. That's what we care about, is growing the community. It's not about business. It's not about money. It's just growing the community. Obviously, you know, I'm active duty. My dad's retired. We're trying to build a product that, you know, people can see that's different than the corporate world.
There we go. Which is awesome. Which is why I would, again, it's one of the reasons why I support you guys, because it's one of those honest shops. It feels like one of the hometown shops that is in my town. in this undisclosed location in the middle of the woods. Right? So, but I that's what it feels like. That's the vibe I've always gotten from you guys. That's the genuine nature that you've always shown me. So I really appreciate it. And Laval, you got anything to add before we get out of here?
Just thank you guys for letting us come on and talk. I'm not sure if we can make a label appropriately for him or not. You have to talk with Milam on that one. But we appreciate everything you guys are doing, and we'll get some coffee box up tomorrow for your Detroit trip.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it. We'll definitely go out there and represent for sure. Absolutely. You want to say what you're going to say? I know you're going to say it, so go ahead.
God bless you guys.
Before we do it, hold up. They got a new commercial, and I want to. I want to play the new commercial before they get out of here. Here we go. Not the one.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smokin Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected, roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smokin Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
I love it. I'm gonna put.
I love that you got.
I'm gonna put an ending on it though with the Native Patriot stuff, but I like it. I like it.
I love that you got.
Have you seen mine? I know I just showed it to your son, but have you seen it? Oh, I got to show it to him.
So all right, guys, endure another commercial. Here we go.
Here's what I made with AI. Watch.
Greetings, kindred spirits. Welcome to Smokin Gun Coffee, where the essence of the land infuses every sip. It carries the spirit of reverence for the earth and its gifts. As you indulge in our carefully crafted blends, envision the dance of the winds and the whispers of ancient trees. Let each cup be a journey through time, a tribute to the harmony found in nature. Smokin Gun Coffee. A ritual of warmth, a connection to the sacred. Embrace the rich tapestry of flavors and join us in honoring the legacy of the land. Taste the spirit, savor the journey. Smokin Gun Coffee.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It's a little bit more native than Patriot, but that's all right. We'll find a good mixture. Maybe I'll add in a part at the end where I'm like just driving my truck, doing a donut or something. That way we get a little bit more Patriot in there.
Say your thing, man. Say your thing.
Right. Thank you guys for coming on. God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you guys.
And as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent. Stand your ground. See you next time on the Patriots Prayer, guys.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is America.